Hello everyone, welcome you all to the investment management class. So we are solving the problems related to unit 3, that is valuation of securities. We have started solving problems related to valuation of bonds, and in valuation of bonds there will be different problems which comes, and in the previous year there was a very different problem which we'll be solving today. So in my previous class I have done problem related to duration. So how do you calculate a duration of a bond, and yield to call and yield to maturity? Here in this problem also we'll be calculating yield to maturity, but there are two different rates. So when they give two different rates and when there is a concept of yield to call in between, how do you solve it? So let's take the question paper. So this is a new question paper. This question is repeated continuously in the previous in the same year and in the previous year. So the question paper is August September 2020. I'll write down the question paper here. August September 2020. That is 2B. 18 scheme. I'll write here 18 scheme 2B. The same question is repeated in June-July 2018, 16 scheme 2C. There it was Karan and here it is Chandra. Okay, I'll just read out the problem for you. Chandra purchased at par a bond with a face value of ₹1,000. The bond had 5 years to maturity and a 10% coupon rate. The bond was called 2 years later for a price of ₹1,200 after making its second annual interest payment. Chandra then reinvested the proceeds in the bond, selling at a face value of ₹1,000 with 3 years to maturity and a 7% coupon rate. Determine the YTM of the bond. So here you can see that we have to calculate the YTM of the bond, that is yield to maturity. So to calculate yield to maturity, normally we use the formula, approximate formula or the regular formula, where you have your coupon rate plus P naught or dividend divided by your N, whole divided by P naught plus face value divided by 2, or you give weightage as to 0.4 and 0.6. So this is the regular formula which we were using. But this was in the case if the bond was called or matured after that is after the maturity period. But in this problem, immediately after the bond was issued, 2 years after that, it was called back. Then the proceeds were reinvested in another bond. So slightly there are changes in the interest rate. The first bond was reinvested for 10% coupon rate, and then it was called back for 1,200, and again the proceeds were invested at 7%. So you have two different rates. So it's difficult to calculate the YTM. The process changes. Okay, as it is a new problem which has come recently in the recent question paper. So let's solve that. So here for that we have to calculate the cash flow first. You might have done the IRR method previously in your second sem. Okay, the same IRR method we'll be using here in order to solve this problem. Okay, so let's take the cash flows first. Let's take the number of years. So here they've said the bond is for 5 years. Let's take the investment 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so you have your cash flows. So cash flow is initially your investment was 1,000. I'll take it as negative. Then they are saying that first year and second year the interest was being paid. So first year the interest rate is 10%. So on face value, that is 1,000 rupees. If you calculate 10%, you get 100 rupees. Okay. Second year, they said they have paid the interest, so 100, but they have got the sale proceeds because it was called back and they paid 1,200 for the bond. So total 1,300, but they again purchase the bond for ₹1,000. So your cash flow is 300. Okay, your cash flow is 300. Or else if you want space for the next column, so what you will do is I'll put this in the bracket and I'll write here. So this is the cash flow for the second year, which is 300. Then for the third year, from third year onwards, they said that the coupon rate is 7%. So on 1000, if you just calculate 7%, you get 70. Fourth year also it is 70. Last year, fifth year, along with that they get the face value. So it is 70 plus 1000, you get 1070. So this is the cash flow. So first year it is 100, second year it is 300, third year it is 70, fourth year it is 70, last year it is 1070. Okay, now what we are going to do, this is the cash flow. On this cash flow, we are going to calculate IRR by taking two different interest rates. So how should you select the interest rate? One is 7% and another one is 10%. So initially they were paying 10%, later on it is 7%. So always when you begin with, you have to take a slightly higher rate when compared to 7% because 100 and 300 is greater than 70. So slightly higher than 7% you have to take. So I'll take at 9%. So with 9% we are going to calculate the present value interest factors of the cash flow. Okay, I'll write here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I've done the cash flow calculation there. I'll write the cash flows 100, 300, 70, 70 and 1070. So this is at 9%. This is year. Okay, and this is cash flow. And here I'll write present value interest factor at 9%. Here cash flow present value interest factor at 9%. So to show you all, I have a book. Okay, the book has the present value interest. Any financial management book will have present value interest factor tables. So in the previous video I have showed you instead if you don't have a present value interest factor table, how you can calculate using the calculator, like 1 divided by 1 plus r to the power of n. If it is the first year, then you use to the power of 1, for the second year to the power of 2, for the third year to the power of 3, like that. Or else you have behind the textbooks, any financial textbooks, you have tables like this. You can zoom and see, like present value interest factor annuity, present value interest factor, future value interest factor annuity, or future value interest factor. Like that you get tables. From that tables you can take the values. Okay, so you can use any of the method. So here I'll be taking the values. I've already taken the values from the textbook, that is the table. So I'll be directly writing the values. So if you want, you can also even calculate. For example, for the first one, I'll help you out. So first one, 1 divided by 1 plus r, that is 1 divided by 1 plus 0.09. Okay, that you're going to do. So you get 0.917. 0.917. If you have the regular calculator, if you just press equal, you get the remaining. Okay, for the second year, you have to do 1 divided by 1.09 to the power of 2. So you get 0.842. Okay, like this I have listed down all the values. You just calculate and write down. Okay, I have already listed down the values here. So I'm directly writing. Either you can use a calculator or either you can take the help of the textbook. From that you can write down the values. So these are the values. Now what I'll do is, now I'll multiply the cash flows with present value interest factor. So present value of cash flows. Okay, I'll just take my calculator. 100 into 0.917, you get 91.7 Next, 300 into 0.842, you get 252.6. Then you have 70 into 0.772, you get 54.04. Like this you have to calculate for everything. 70 into 0.708. So 49.56 and 1070 into 0.650. 695.5. So once I do this, you have to add this. So for adding, I'll add all of these. 49.56 plus 54.04 plus 252.6 plus 91.7. So you get 1143.4. So this is what you get for 9%. Okay, NPV. This we call it as NPV value, that is 1143.4. Okay, after this you have to know that 1000 rupees is there and you have got your NPV as 1143.4. One value should be, this you might be knowing, one value should be greater than 1000 and another value should be less than 1000. So you've got the value which is greater than 1000. So what you need to do, you need to take a higher value, that is higher interest rate. Now you have already done for 9%. Now you have to do it for a higher percent. So I'll clear here itself so that I can continue here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll take 15%. Okay, 100, 300, 70, 70, 70 and 1070. I'll take it at 15%. Okay, like the same way you have to take the table values. So let's calculate the table values. So 1 divided by 1.15. Okay, you get 870. 0.870. So here it is 0.8695. I have hold it to the next number. Okay, like this I have written all the values here. I'll just write the values. You just you can do the calculation or you can take from the textbook. 756 and 0. The third one is 658 and the fourth one is 572. You can, if you want, you can cross verify, no problem. Last one is 497. 0.497. So these values doesn't change. It changes only with percentage. Okay. So this you have got. Now just multiply these. So from here only you can understand that 87.0, the present 87, you can take it no need of 0 and all. Then 0.756 into 300, you get 226.8. Then you get 70 into 0.658, you get 46.06. Okay, then 70 into 0.572, you get 40.04. Okay, 40.04. And last one, 1070 into 0.497, you get 531.79. Now I am going to summate it. Plus 40.04 plus 46.06 plus 226.8 plus 87. You get 931.69. 931.69. So this is also NPV. So here you have to understand this is, sorry, here you have to understand that 9% is a lower rate. So NPV at lower rate, 15% is compared to 9%, it is higher. So NPV at higher rate. So probably you might remember your IRR formula. Okay, we are going to put that IRR formula in order to do the substitution. Okay, so I'll write IRR is equal to lower rate. So first we'll put the lower rate plus NPV. Here we need 3. One is the lower rate NPV, higher rate NPV, and the investment. Okay, so NPV at a lower rate minus, we are going to put the investment whole divided by, we are going to put the NPV of lower rate minus NPV of higher rate. So we are going to put that into the changes in R. So this is the common formula which we use, and we are going to do the substitution. I'll do the substitution here only. So lower rate among these two is which one? 9%. So I'm going to write 9 plus NPV of lower rate is 1143.4 minus our investment given in the problem. We have taken everywhere, it is 1000 rupees. Okay, divided by 1143.4 minus NPV of higher rate is 931.69 into the changes of R, that is 9 minus 15, it is 6%. The difference between the two percentages is 6%. So we are going to calculate this. So 9 plus, first I'll just deduct this. Deduction you can do 143.4 divided by this, I'll deduct, you get 60 something. 43.4 minus 931.69. You get 211.71. 211.71 into 6. So then I'll do this part. Don't get confused. It has to go step by step. So I'll continue this here. Okay, I'll continue this here. As I don't have space there, I'll just continue here. So 9 plus, I'll just divide that, 143.4 divided by 211.71. You get 0.6777 and all. 0.6777 into 6. So I'll just multiply this into 6. So you get 4.064. So 9 plus 4.064 you get. So for that I'll add 9. So you get 13.06%. So 13.06% is your YTM, which we have found out using IRR method. Okay, so hopefully you have understood this problem. Whenever they give two different rates, you have to first calculate, and wherever they give two different rates and reinvestment is there, where the first rate is called due to the yield to call. So here what you need to do is, using IRR, you need to calculate the yield to maturity. Okay, so let's go to another problem. Before that, I'll just clear the board. So this concludes the valuation of bonds. So we have done n number of problems related to the valuation of bonds. So you might be comfortable as of now doing or solving all the problems. Now we'll be doing the valuation of shares. So Nagesh sir have already done the valuation of shares in the basic problems, and also he has already done the constant valuation method. While doing the theory, I told about the constant valuation method, constant growth model, and then two-stage model and three-stage model. In today's class, we'll be solving two-stage model problem. So I'll just write here, two-stage growth model or two-stage or two different interest rates problem. For that, we'll take one problem. We'll take the same question paper, that is the recent one, that only we'll take. I'll read out the question for you. So I could have retained that. Okay, I'll write August, September 2020, 18 scheme, and the problem is 6C. 6C. So before starting the problem, I've told you there are three methods: constant growth model, two-stage model, and multi-stage model. The difference between these three kinds of problems is constant growth model, you will give only one growth rate. Okay. Two-stage model, they'll give two growth rates. And three-stage model, they'll give three growth rates. That you have to observe while reading and understanding the problem. You have to analyze. Okay, then you'll come to know which more formula to apply. They'll not tell which formula to apply. You have to analyze the problem and understand. So I'll just read out this problem. So probably you might be able to understand what kind of or which problem is it. Okay, so let's begin. A cement company paid a dividend of rupees 2.75. So cement company paid a dividend of rupees 2.75 during the current year. So during the current year, they paid a dividend of 2.75. So that is the dividend. Forecast suggests that earnings and dividends of the company are likely to grow at the rate of 8%, over the next 5 years. And the rate of 5% thereafter. So here, I'll explain the problem later. Investors have traditionally required a rate of return. A rate of return of 20% on these shares. Okay, this is the problem. I'll read out the problem once again for your understanding. A cement company paid a dividend of rupees 2.75 during the current year. Forecast suggests that earnings and dividends of the company are likely to grow at a rate of 8% over the next 5 years and the rate of 5% thereafter. Okay. Investors have traditionally required rate of return is 20% on these shares. Determine the present value of the stock. So in this problem, they have asked us to calculate the present value of the stock, which is nothing but P naught. Okay, let's write down the given information first. So in the question paper, I'll write the given here because there I've written the formula completely. So I'll write the given here. First, they have given dividend is 2.75. Okay, then they have said that growth rate, I'll write G1. Okay, growth rate is 8%. Then G2, after that it is 5%, and required rate of return is 20%. So this is the information which is given in the problem, and they have asked to find out the present value of stocks. Okay, to start with, here D is 2.75. What is D1? Right. So here we have to calculate D1. In order to calculate D1, I'll just calculate D1 here. Hopefully you can see it. D1 is equal to D0 plus D0 into G1. Formula might look complex, but it's easy. So D naught is 2.75 plus 2.75 into your growth rate, which is 8%. So let's calculate what is the value. So 2.75 into 8%, you get 0.22. Okay, 0.22. So I have not written here, I'll write here. I was worrying about the space. Let's see. Okay, 0.22 plus 0.75, to that I'll add 2.75 and add to that, you get 2.97. So here you can understand D1 value is 2.97. Here there is no much twist. You need to learn this formula. That's it. So I'll explain this formula for you all. First, D1 means the dividend 1 minus 1 plus G1 divided by 1 plus R to the power of N whole divided by R minus G1. Okay, plus D1 1 plus G1 to the power of N minus 1 into 1 plus G2, this is plus, okay, 1 plus G2 divided by R minus G, N you can put, or G2 I'll put, okay, G2 into 1 divided by 1 plus R to the power of N. So this is the formula. Now I'll slowly do the substitution, you just try to understand. So D1, just now we have calculated here, I'll take this value 2.97. Okay, 1 minus 1 plus G1. G1 is 0.08 divided by 1 plus 0.20. This is the rate. So I'll put the bracket for this to the power of N. N is, I have to check in the question papers because I have not written in the given. Next 5 years. So N is 5 years. I'll write the information here. N is 5 years. N is 5 years. Okay. Plus, next, I have to continue this, divided by 0.20 minus 0.08. So 1 minus 1 plus 0.08, that is G1, whole divided by 1 plus 0.20 to the power of 5 whole divided by 0.20 minus 0.08. Like the same way, we'll do the second step of substitution. D1 is 2.97, 1 plus 0.08 to the power of 5 minus 1, 1 plus 0.05. So second rate is 0.05. So I am writing 0.05 whole divided by 0.20 minus 0.05. Okay, so this completes here. And last one, 1 divided by 1 plus 0.20 to the power of 5. So this is the substitution. Now after substitution, we'll calculate and simplify. Okay, so 2.97, I'll open up the bracket, take the calculator and let's start calculating. So first we'll do this, 1.08 divided by 1.20, you get 0.09. You want the step-by-step substitution for the first problem, I'll do step-by-step substitution. 0.9 to the power of 5. Okay, 0.9 to the power of 5. whole divided by 0.20 minus 0.08. You get 0.12. Okay, let's do the simplification of this. 2.97, I'll write as it is, into 1.08 to the power of 4. You get 1.36. Okay, I'll write 1.36 into 1.05. Whole divided by 0.20 minus 0.05. You get 0.15. Let's go here. 1 divided by 1 divided 1.20 to the power of 5. You get 2.4883. 2.4883. So this is one step. Continuing the same step. 2.97. I'll open up the bracket. 1 minus 0.9 to the power of 5. You get 0.59049 divided by 0.12. So I'll just multiply all of these. 2.97 into 1.36 into 1.05. You get 4.24. 4.24 divided by 0.15. Okay, then I'll divide this. 1 divided by 2.4883. You get 0.401. 9 you can take because it is 8. So you can take 9. Okay, after this simplification, we have a few more steps to go to simplify this. We don't have space, so I'll rub a D0, D1. And I'll create a small place here in order to solve that. Okay, for solving of that, let me do 1 minus 0.59049. You get 0.4095. Okay, 59. So I'll just simplify that. 2.97. I'll just open up the bracket. 0.40951 to the power of 0.12. I'll do. Okay, after doing this, I'll just divide those two. 4.24 divided by 0.15. You get 28.27 into 28.27. Okay, into 0.4019. Okay, and again I'll continue the same step. So 2.97, I'll just divide this. You get 3.4125. And I'll just multiply these two. Okay. So, yeah, 28.27 into 0.4019. You get 11.36. You get 11.36. So, plus 11.36 2.36. Okay, I'll just multiply these two again. 2.97 into 3.4125. You get 10.135 plus 11.36 plus 11.36. You get 21.49. 21.49. So this is the problem. Yeah. So I not written the symbol. I just continue that. Okay. This is the final answer. Hopefully you have understood this. Whenever they give two growth stages, you have to do such kind of problem. So similar kind of problem, we'll do one more. We'll take another question paper. We'll take June-July 2016 question paper. June-July 2016 question paper. 14 scheme. Section B, problem number 4. June-July 2016. June-July 2016. 14 scheme. Section B, problem number 4. Okay, I'll just read out the problem for all. Till then, I'll just clear out the board. I'll read out the problem for you all. The current dividend on an equity share of ICL Limited is 4. So current dividend, it is 4. ICL is expected to enjoy the above normal growth rate of 18% for 6 years. Thereafter, the growth rate will stabilize at 12%. Equity shares required rate of return is 18% from ICL stock. What is the intrinsic value per share of ICL Limited? So this is the question. So I've written the given information. N is 6, D is 4, G1 is 18, G2 is 12, R is 18. So let's calculate D1 first. So I'll write D0 plus D0 into G1. So I'll write 4 plus 4 into G1 is 0.18. So I'll take my calculator and calculate 4 into 0.18. It is 0.72. So 4 plus. So 4.72 is D1. So we'll do the substitution. 4.72. G1 rate is 0.18. R rate is 0.18. Here coincidence is it was 18 and 18. G1 is also 18 and R is also 18. Okay. Then you have D1 is 4.72 and G1 is 0.18 and G2 is 0.12. So 18 and 0.12, 18 to the power of 6. So here it should be 6 minus 1 and here it should be 6. So I've done the substitution. So here one thing you can see that as it is common, okay, 1.18 divided by 1.18, it is 0. 0 to the power of 6, 0. 1 minus 0, 0. And divided by 18 minus 18, 0. So overall, it is 0. So anything multiplied with 4.70, 0. So you need to calculate only this. So let's calculate this. 4.72 into 0.18, sorry, 1.18 to the power of 5, you get 2.2878. 2878 you can take into 1.12 to the power of 0.18 minus 0.12, you get 0.06. So this is about this, and let's simplify the other part. 1.18 to the power of 6, just now we have calculated, no 5. So that is 2.699. So 2.6996. So here we have already done this. So let's multiply this. 4.72 into 2.2878 into 1.12. You get 12.095 to the power divided by 0.06. Okay, into, this is 0 plus, I'll write neatly 0 plus, 1 divided by 2.6996. You get 0.370. 4 is also there, 4 digits. If you want to take, you can take 4 digits. So let's divide this first. 12.095 divided by 0.06, you get 201.58. So 0 plus 201.58 into 0.3704. So I'll write the answer there itself. 201.58 into 0.3704. So your final answer is 74.665. So 74.665, that is the final answer. In two-stage model, the formula doesn't change, the formula will be constant, and there is no much twist and turns. So if you just make the right substitution and do the right calculation, you can get the answer easily. But initially you have to calculate D1, that is important. Don't take the D directly to the problem. Okay, so if you want some more problem, I'll just put after this video. You can solve that problem and see whether you're comfortable in solving and understanding this kind of problem. Thank you.